Hi everybody, Judy Tuttle here with Tuttle Up Stamping. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Midland, Texas, and I'm excited to get started with you today on our spring break craft along. These projects are beautiful. You're going to love them. And I feel like what is the coolest thing about it is the 5 techniques that we're going to show you this week as we do our projects. So every day will have its own special technique, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's talk about that real quick. We are using two, but well, before I do that, let's talk about what I have coming up. And then we'll get started when everybody gets in here. Hi, Christine. Thanks for joining me today. So this April the 4th, I'm flustered. Sorry about that, guys. I am having a event called the Humble Home Creating for Christ event. You can get this to go or in person. We're going to be using that beautiful Everyday You and Me designer series paper, that the same paper and ribbon that we used last week, but we're giving this a faith twist. So if you love faith-based classes, think about joining me for my April 4th Humble Home Creating for Christ. The link to that will be up in the description for you. All right, and you can add on, if you would like, this really cute magnetic kit that will also have some scripture, some little pockets to save inspirational quotes or scriptures for yourself, reminders, all of that. Hi, Linda. Glad you're here today. Thanks for joining me. Are you ready to craft along with me? I also will have an Easter card class on April the 10th at 6:30, but you can also get this to go. I'm using a combination of the Faith Collection bundle, which is that beautiful bundle that you see in the picture here with the cross and the palms and the lilies. It's so pretty. But then I'm also bringing in some of that Storybook Friends designer series paper and ephemera, and that will be, I love you, my friend, too, Mary. Thanks for joining me. It looks like your kit's supposed to be there at any moment, Mary. It said between noon and 2, so be looking for it. But anyway, this class is on April the 10th at 6:30 here in my home, or you can get it to go and get a full color PDF of all the instructions and all the parts and all of that. The link to that will be up in the description as well. Next, I have a cookie and cards night here at my house on April the 14th, and and you will design and create these 3 beautiful cookies by my friend Heather too from the Cookie Encounter. But you'll also get this beautiful brand new paper pumpkin kit that makes 9 cards. You will make one of each of the 3 designs with me that night, and then you'll know exactly how to do the rest of them when you get home. This is the perfect class for people who love paper pumpkin kits and for the new stamper that's just getting. You get 2 whole stamp sets in this paper pumpkin box. So it's going to be a fun night, and I would love to have the last one sold out. So if you're interested in that, let's get on that right away. Okay, and this week, this is what we're doing. Spring Break Craft Along with these 4 other rock star demonstrators from across the United States. Thanks, Christina. And we will be doing 2 projects a day for the next 5 days, and every day will have its own special technique. Now, I wanted to show you really quick what everybody got with their kit that got them in the mail. So let me move this down to my hands. We are using 2 bundles for this class this week. So we got to thinking, what do people do during the spring break, right? Everybody does different things. A lot of people go to the beach. So that's why we chose the Ocean Friends bundle with the lobster and the crabs and the seaweed and all kinds of fun elements. So we chose that bundle. And then we also chose the Year of the Flower bundle because a lot of people garden. I just went to a gardening class last night, right? Learning how to garden in Midland, Texas in the desert. It's been tricky since I moved here. But I want to show you what I did to these awesome dies. So there are dies that fit each and every one of these flowers here. And of course, we have some great sentiments there as well, right? But sometimes it's hard to tell what dies match up with what flower. So this is what I did. I put a sheet of just typing paper on a magnetic platform that I got from Stamp and Storage. I love these magnetic sheets. They really hold my dies. And then I figured out what die goes with what month. So you can see on these stamps, every flower has a month next to it. So January, February, March, April, I matched them all up. I put the dies on this sheet like that. And now I know if I want September's, all I have to do is know what month is September, and I pull that die off, and then I can use that die, okay? You also get some additional little leafy things here, and you get a beautiful label with that. We'll be using all of these things this week on our projects, okay? So although they didn't get the bundles included unless they paid for them, right, because we're not allowed to do that, they got this cute flowered bag that is full with everything they need for this week's projects. Cute little tag we added on there with the crabs. They got a full packet. I said full, I lied. A half a packet of the Timeless Plaid DSP. There's a lot there, 24 sheets. They got the matte dots embellishments. They got the Dots for Days embellishments. They got a half a pack of that Ocean Friends paper. You can see that there. 2 rolls of ribbon. This is all packed into this little bag here. Full roll of the white, full roll of the peach pie. This is mine. I just threw it in there so you could see it. And all the labels cut out that are not part of that, either of those bundles. We cut those all out for you. And then a little treat inside. And I'm not going to show you that because I want the people who are getting their kit to be surprised what their little present is from me. And then in this bag right here, let me put all this away. Move that off to the side right there. They got the half a pack of the Ocean's Friends Designer Series paper, right? Now, this is the cool thing. We sent them some technique cards, and every day we do a technique, you can make an extra of it and put it on these cards. These are 4x6. They are made to fit into the 4x6 flip flaps that we now sell, or you can just cut them up and put them in a notebook, however you want. But if you do an extra of each of the techniques, then you collect these cards, and when you need a reference for how to do that technique, you'll have those on there. Isn't that a great idea? I love that. So you can see I already did our technique for today and glued it on there. Okay. Now, full color PDF. Okay. This was emailed out to everybody. Beautiful, great pictures, awesome instructions, but you always have our videos here too to go back to. Got a piece of watercolor paper that we're going to use in a later. And then look at all this cardstock, you guys. We sent over 24 sheets of all the cardstock you need to make all the projects for the week. That is a lot of stuff. So for those of you who got your craft along in the mail, you should have all of this. Now, I'm going to say something real quick. I have never been as annoyed with the Postal Service, and I'm sorry to say this because some of you may have loved ones out there who work for the Postal Service, but I sent 2 of my kits out last week on Tuesday, and they are still in the state of Texas. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Things are so slow right now. And I realized last week there were blizzards and blah, 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 right? But, you know, when I'm trying to get things to my customers on time, that is very frustrating. Okay, so if you're with me today to craft along, I want you to pull out 2 sheets of your crumb cake paper. I want you to pull out your labels, and I'll show you which ones I pulled out. Pull this out of here. You need and maybe I didn't pull them out yet. Maybe I just dreamed I did. Okay. The labels you're going to need today are, here's our little label packet that I sent to everybody. Thank you, Christina. I'm glad you like the idea. It's been fun. You're going to need both of these everyday arches that are in crumb cake right here. You need 2 of those. You need 4 of these small white, basic white everyday arches, 4 of them. And you need, what else? Is that it? I think that's it. Oh, no. You need this Countryside Corners label as well. Let me just feed through here, make sure I grabbed everything I need. I think that's it. Okay? All right. So, we're going to start today with our first technique. We're going to take so we're going to go through that PDF, you guys, the ones of you who got it early. We're going to go through it in order it is written, okay? So for our first card project, we're going to take our crumb cake cardstock. You're crafting along with me, so I'm going to do it with you here. And we're going to cut it in half at 5 1/2. And then we are going to turn it and score it at 4 1/4. There we go, right like that. So there is our card base. Then we need 2 more things. Out of that same piece of crumb cake, we're going to cut a panel that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then we're going to cut another panel of crumb cake that is, I think it's 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Yep, 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to take this remaining piece, 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Let me make sure I got that on there right. 4 1/2. Okay, by 3 1/4. And then on this 4 1/2 by 3 1/4 panel, we are going to score the short side at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put this on the 1/2 inch mark, move my cutting blade out of the way, and score that at 1/2 inch right there. There we go. So there are all the pieces of cardstock that we need. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the technique. So here's our card front, right? It's called faux suede. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper that you want to suede up, and you're just going to crumple it really good. Crumple it as good as you can. Okay, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to crumple some more. Okay, then I'm going to grab my bone folder. This one I got from my friend Tamara Davis, who owns an Etsy shop. I got it for On Stage in Raleigh. And you're going to take your bone folder and you're just going to keep breaking down those fibers in that paper. So you're just going to keep kind of rolling it, get the center really good. That kind of gets ignored, and then go the other side. Just keep softening it up, rolling it well. And you're going to notice that the edges are going to split. The corners are going to split. The edges are going to split. And that's what happens when you're really working that paper and getting it really soft and subtle. And keep going here. Takes a little bit of work, but it's you get a fun result from it. Probably wouldn't want to make 100 cards with the faux suede on them. You might get worn out. Okay, and then I'm going to look here and see if I can you can kind of tell that the corners are kind of pulling away from each other. So I'm going to grab it And very slowly and gently, I'm going to kind of pull those edges apart. Now, it might tear a little bit. That's okay. That's part of the look of the technique, okay? I'm just going to choose whatever side I like the best, and that is the side that I'm going to use for my card front. I'm going to get these corners a little bit better here. Hang with me. It's going to look great. Okay. Sometimes I kind of have to get my nail on that piece that's kind of wanting to stick. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, those little rips and tears are kind of part of the whole look. Okay. So that's fine. It's supposed to look worn and torn, right? Okay. Now I'm going to grab my blending brush and some crumb cake, not Old Olive. I'm going to grab some crumb cake ink, and I'm going to ink up my blending brush, and I'm just going to ink on some crumb cake here, and that's going to just kind of help bring out all those fibers, help it look old. Okay, there we go. See how it looks very suede-y and old? Yep, that's how it's supposed to look. All right, now I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to put the seal on the cardstock, not on the faux suede, because it will tear it. Okay, so you want it to adhere, but you don't want it to tear by putting the Seal Plus on it. Okay, there we go. So there's kind of my suede technique. What do you guys think about that? Do you like that look? It's very different, okay? Now, I'm going to grab this panel right here that I have the score mark on the long edge, and I'm going to adhere this to the inside of my card. So I'm going to place this where I want it on my card front right here. Kind of like that. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add some Seal Plus to this edge right here. And I'm going to press it down so it adheres just to the inside of the card. So this is going to fold like this, okay? All right, now I'm going to grab some Designer Series paper. According to the PDF, you need one panel that's 4 by 5 1/4 and one panel that is 2 1/4 by 4. So this is the color I used for the inside, is that plaid right there. I have it right here, and we're going to cut it into 4 by 5 1/4. All right. And then this is going to get adhered in the inside right here over where that was hinged on the bottom right there, okay? So here we go. I'm going to that DSP right to the inside right there. And then while I'm at it, I cut a piece of basic white that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. And the stamp I'm going to use is Hoping Your Day Blooms with Happiness. And I'm going to stamp that in my Old Olive ink. Right there. Then I can go ahead and put that on the inside, and then the inside of my card will be done. Never fails. Seal always runs out when you're on Facebook Live. There we go. Close this up so I don't get this all over my hands. And this is going to go right here in the center of that inside of that card base. Okay, so now this is going to fold up like this, right? And I'm grabbing this piece of DSP right here, and I'm going to cut it 4 1/4 by 4. Grab my paper cutter. Don't need that anymore. 4 1/4. No, 4. I almost said that wrong. 4 by 2 1/4. 4 by 2 1/4. All right. This is going to be adhered right here on the front of this panel, okay? All right. A little bit further down, right like that. Okay, now to hold this panel down on the front of the card like that, we're going to grab our white ribbon, and it's right over here. Let me grab it. And we're going to wrap it around and tie the whole thing over here on this side. That's going to hold that front flap down. So when people open it, they just untie this little bow and it all comes down together. There we go. All my craft alongers must be working hard out there. They're being quiet today. All right, there we go. So there's my flap on the front. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to grab 4 of those everyday arches in basic white. And this is the very smallest size of everyday arch right there. Keep thinking there's 2 connected, but there's not. Now, I chose flowers. I'm going to move this over here to the side a little bit. I chose flowers that my family, that represents my family. So I have my daughter and son. My son is the lily of the valley. That's May. My daughter is the chrysanthemum. That's November. My grandson is the marigold. That's October. And my granddaughter is the larkspur, and that is July. So I'm going to grab my Memento Black ink. Now, you're probably going, wow, Judy, you know all those flowers so well. Well, let me tell you, I looked them up. I'm not going to lie. I looked them up this morning and memorized which ones they were. Okay, so May is going to go first. I'm going to do them in calendar order, but you don't really have to. May is my son. You can do it. So this is, think of Mother's Day, right? Think of a grandmother that would love to have this of her grandkids. This is very, what do I want to say, nostalgic for sure. October is going to go right in this one. There we go. And then November is going to go in this one. Now, when we do the next project, you're going to see that when you die cut these flowers out, which you can, we're not doing it on this one, the month is cut off, which is kind of nice because that allows you to create bouquets and all of that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do some coloring. I decided on this one that I was going to color my leaves in Old Olive. So I'm pulling out my light and dark Old Olive. I'm going to have my marigold to be, I said that wrong. Chrysanthemum is going to be Daffodil Delight. My marigold is going to be Pumpkin Pie. Is that what that is? Peach Pie. Peach Pie. And then my larkspur is going to be Highland Heather. Okay, and these are really fast and easy to color because they're tiny, right? So I'm going to start with all my greens. I'll do all that at once. And you don't even have to do the light and the dark of each color. I think on my original one here, I only used the light of the Old Olive. It's kind of, they're so small that trying to use some definition or shading isn't really necessary because it probably wouldn't even show up very well, right? So out of the 5 of us, we each designed 5 projects. This was not one of mine. This was one of the other ladies. And we each incorporated a technique into one of our designs. Okay, so there we go. There's all my green stems. Now I'm just going to add my color as I desire. Now, on my lily of the valley, it's typically white, but I'm going to add a little bit of ivory to them just so that they'll stand out a little bit, you know. It's going to be very subtle. Okay, there we go. There's the May. Done with that one. Here's my larkspur. I'm going to do, now these blooms are a little bit bigger, so it does allow me to do a little bit of shading, not a lot. I'm going to start with my light. Okay, and then I'm going to add just a few dots of the dark to just the insides of each one. Okay, then for October, I'm using the peach pie. I'm going to start with the light. And add just some touches of the dark to some of the petals on the inside. Here we go. And last, Daffodil Delight. Use my brush tip here. So if you're a demonstrator, tomorrow is pre-order for the new upcoming catalog and some of the new online exclusives too. So that's a fun thing about being a demonstrator, is that we get early access to everything new that's coming out. If you're like me, you like all the new stuff, right? Okay, so now we're going to just adhere this. I'm going to pull this a little bit shorter there, cut these ends off. We're going to adhere this to this front flap, and it's really important, you guys, that you don't put dimensionals behind on the faux suede, okay? So you're going to put them at all different labels, kind of up, down, up, and down, And so I'm going to grab my dimensionals here. And what I do is I start with one at the top, add one to the bottom. Okay. And I just start putting them on the front here, adjusting them by size and height, adjusting the size and height. That every time you want to, I'm going to move that over just a little bit. Make sure you're not getting dimensionals past that front flap. There we go, right there. I might start with my November down on this end. I'm going to go this way. And then my larkspur is last, and it's going to go right here between these two. Now, you could put 3 if you wanted. You could put 2. You could put just 1. You can even add, probably fit another 5th one in there if you had 5 people's birthdays in your family that you wanted to celebrate. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm going to take our gems, and I'm focusing on these that are pecan pie, and just scattering them on, and basic beige as well. Just put them wherever you want. You don't have to put them exactly where we have them in our picture. Okay, so there's card number 1. The little unties right here. Opens up. Hope your day blooms with happiness. How pretty is that? And I would say Happy Mother's Day, Happy Birthday. Moms always like sentimental cards that remind them of their children and their grandchildren, right? So that is our first project of our craft along. I hope you guys like it. What do you think of that technique? It's a bit fussy, but it kind of gives an interesting, fun look to it, I think. Don't you? All right, so there's project number 1. Let me put all that away, and then we'll get started on the second project. My camera's a little wonky. There we go. Okay. Second project is a fun little gift box. Here we go. How cute is that? Holds, now in everybody's bags, they got some of these candies that have flower designs on them. Aren't those pretty? You could fill it up with candy. You can put a gift card in there with it. These would be great for bridal showers, to have one on everybody's little plate, right? A little to-go gift for them, something like that. And this box is so quick and easy to put together. You're not going to believe it. All right, so here we go. You're pulling out the 2 large arches in crumb cake, and you're pulling out the Countryside Corners die in basic white. And then we are going to want our Party Dots for Days and a scrap piece of white and that white ribbon again. Okay, there we go. So we're going to cut our crumb cake paper into 6 by 5.5. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that measurement. 6 by 5.5. Yep. So this is 8.5, so I'm going to put it at 6 right here. And then this is going to go to 5.5. Right there. All right, you can actually get 2 boxes out of 1 sheet of crumb cake cardstock. Okay, now we're going to do some scoring. It says that on the 6-inch side, so this is the 6-inch side, we're going to score it at 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Make sure you're using your score blade and not your cutting blade. Has anybody accidentally cut when they meant to score? Guilty. And at 4 3/4, which is right there. Okay. All right. And then on the short side, we're going to score at 2 1/8 and at 3 3/8. There we go. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take my bone folder, and on those score marks, I'm going to score everything, fold everything to the inside. Okay? Here we go. Right like that. Now I'm going to start cutting here. I'm going to cut these score lines up to the score lines. So on the sides here where there's 3 boxes, you're going to cut up to the score line, right like that. And then you know me, I like to inch a little bit of it off on either side of those tabs. It just helps everything fold in just a tiny bit better. Same on these even longer ones. And this box is going to go over together very easy, but then we're going to add the arches to it. Okay, there we go. Super easy to put this box together. Yes, great for craft shows, Christina. Great for little gifts, especially around Mother's Day, right? You can put little candies inside. They can add their own gift cards. You can add a little fluff. Any of that would work. That is a little more glue than I wanted, but it's going to be okay. Okay, I'm going to press that up like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Glue, press that tab to the inside, add glue right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these sides right here. Glue, glue. And then I'm going to press it up and push right there. And up and push right there. Okay, and we're just going to press all of that together. That's going to create our box for the inside of our arches, right? And then we're going to grab these arches and we're going to score along the bottom edge at, it says 1 1/4 from the straight edge. So I'm going to pull out my trusty cut and score. Simply cut and scored, I think it's called. I'm putting my end of my arch at 1 1/4 and I'm just scoring right there. I'm going to do that on both of them. 1 1/4 score. Okay. Grab my bone folder. I'm going to fold that score line up. That flap up. And now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue these 2 flaps that I just made. Are you guys still there? It told me my recording had stopped. I'm not sure it has, so I'm just going to keep going. It says I'm still live, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to put liquid glue because you want a little wiggle room, okay? You're going to put liquid glue right here on this panel. Okay. And now I'm going to add these together right here along these panels. And I want to make sure my sides are straight together. You don't want it to go over your score line. You want it to go close to your score line, but not over. We're going to press that in. Okay, and that's going to create our box. So this is going to fit perfectly on the inside. Look at that. Okay. And then that's going to create our little box. I love this little box. Okay, so we're going to start by adding some glue. And you could use tear and tape. I would avoid the seals. Liquid glue is nice because it gives you that wiggle room, right? Okay, make sure got everything kind of short up to the edges. I take my bone folder and press that in. And then this is going to form the box. How cute is that? Okay, so I'm going to add some liquid glue to each of the sides of the boxes here and then press those arches up to the inside. I'm still here. Okay. Okay, right there. Press that up. And do the same thing over here on this other side. And do the same thing. Then we can start decorating the front, which is super easy. Okay, so you can use whatever designer series plaid papers you want for yours. I chose, let me press that in really well so it's all adhered. There we go. I chose to choose. Here we go. This piece right here. It's the opposite side of that kind of coral and maybe crumb cake plaid. It's this check, okay? And I cut two of them, and they are both 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. So these are going to get glued to the front of and back side of the box here. You guys love this little box? Super cute, right? Okay. There we go. Now, I have this Countryside Corners label that's already cut for you. It's in your label bag. And over here on this side, I'm going to stamp in Calypso Coral, sending you a floral hug. That's going to go right there. Sending you a floral hug. Very cute. All these colors are so pretty. All right, then I have a scratch piece of white. You can see I've used it already. Now, this is what I was telling you about. When you die cut out the flowers, the months are cut off of each one of them. You may like that, you may not. I like it because I can make bouquets of flowers out of it like I'm getting ready to right now. Okay, so I'm just going to use the same flowers I used before. The July Larkspur, I like it because it adds a little purple to it. And the Chrysanthemum. There we go. And the Marigold. Okay. All right, I'm going to grab some of my blends out. I know I want the yellow again, and I want this time the Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and this time I'm going to use Granny Apple Green and my Highland Heather. Okay, so I'm going to do the larkspur just like I did before. Maybe all of them. That's the dark. Let me grab my light here. In addition to having my own shipping out issues, I had shipping in issues. I'd ordered two-day shipping orders from Stampin' Up, and neither one of them got to me on time, which kind of just led to a domino effect of everything being out a little later than they should have. But I decided it's all out of my control. Nothing I could do about any of that. So the good news is that these videos will always be here. And let's say you're watching this video right now and you're like, oh, I wish I had gotten that craft along. Because let me tell you, these projects just keep getting better and better. If that's you, you can still order a kit from me. The ordering link is still open. Be happy to put a craft along kit together for you. Or you can buy the PDF. Or this week, if you place an order of 50 or more, I'll send you the PDF and the technique cards as well. So you can still get in on all the fun. Okay, I'm going to go to my coral, and my chrysanthemum is going to be Calypso Coral. Okay, and then my marigold is going to be Daffodil Delight. I think I pulled out the peach pie. Here we go. Daffodil Delight. All right. So I'm going to grab my dies, and I need July, which is number 7, right? There we go. November, which is number 11 right here. Looks like I missed a little bloom there on November. Let me grab that Calypso Coral here. Little bud right there. There we go. And then October, which is the 10th month, and our marigold right here. So see how easy that makes it when you number those dies by month, then you know exactly where to pull them from. You're not trying to match things up that don't match. And the little extra time it takes is worth it. So think about doing your dies that way for this one. Okay. Boop. Boop. All right. Now we're going to put these flowers together, and you can really kind of make a bouquet out of them any way you want. I started with this one on the bottom, my larkspur, and I just put a little liquid glue behind it, just a tiny bit, and adhered it right there. Okay, then I did my chrysanthemum. And again, you could make these flowers so that they match birth months, right, of grandkids or kids of the person that you're giving this to. Maybe a bouquet of flowers that are the colors that the bride has chosen for her wedding would be pretty, right? Lots of possibilities here for these. these flowers. Okay. Okay. So, like I said, I'll have the link in the description. If you decide you want a kit, I have a couple of kits available. If you decide you just want the PDF, you can buy it for $20, or you can place a $50 order this week and get the PDF and the technique cards for free. Okay, so this is going to go right here on the front of our little box. I'm going to tie a bow out of our white ribbon. Yeah. I'm going to grab a glue dot and adhere it to the front of our box right here. This time for this one, we're popping on some of those dots for days dots that you got in your kit. Pull these out. Okay, guys, are you still out there? I'm nervous because it said it stopped streaming, but I hope it hasn't. So just since I said that last time, I'm not seeing any responses, so that's making me nervous. Okay, so I'm just adding some of these dots for days. There we go. And let's see, maybe another one up here, and maybe a little one down here. Okay, then you can put whatever you want. Like I said on mine, I added these candies that came in with your kit that I sent you. You can add a gift card. You could add some lotion and some spa stuff in there, right? Lots of fun things that you can add to your little box. So I hope you loved these projects today. Let me lay them both out here so that you can see them. And I will be back tomorrow with day 2 of my online card class, crafty spring break class for the week. And there we go. So let me know what you think, and I will be back here tomorrow, probably about 10 a.m. with a great technique that I learned from Miss Erica Serwin, champion of techniques and 3D projects for sure. So God bless everybody, and I'll see you back here at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Bye-bye.